pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
All right, Savvy investors. Today's subject is 15 things you do not want to do when negotiating. So basically, do not do these 15 things. I'm in the middle of writing a course, and it's been a labor of love. And honestly, I have learned a lot about negotiating, and you need to learn a lot about negotiating because everything is in negotiating, from your children to purchasing a vehicle to negotiating with yourself like I did this morning. Should I get out of bed? And I listened to a lot of motivational stuff, and Eric Thomas says, grind more, grind more. So anyway, 15 things you do not want to do when negotiating. 1, do not aim too low. Aim high. Never walk away from a deal. I could have did this, should have did that. Do not aim too low. 2, do not rely on spontaneous brilliance. Don't wing it. Do your due diligence on the front end. Know how much that property's worth. Is it an up and coming area? Is it on decline? What's their motivation? What's the situation? Don't be spontaneous and just wing it. That has been my problem in the past. 3, do not state your position first. Pretty obvious. You've heard this before. But the first one that usually throws out the number usually loses. That's what they say. I don't know. Sometimes you got to start. Sometimes you got to be the leader. But don't be in the first position. Always negotiate back and forth. 4, do not speak until you have listened. Meaning, right out the gate, you want to create rapport. I do talk a lot. Obviously, the radio show is a great outlet for me because there's no one responding except by text message a few days later. But do not overspeak. You gotta listen. Don't just keep talking about the deal or what you're going to do. Just be quiet and listen. So don't speak until you have listened. Number 5, do not be reluctant to ask for what you want. All right. So for example, if you want a lower price, would you consider if we can close in 10 days versus 30 days as normal? Would you sign the contract today? All right. So don't be reluctant to get what you want. Ask. Number 6, do not assume you already know what the other party wants. Sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised. I just negotiated a deal, and it was a pretty sweet deal. And the folks, they could have fixed it up and rented it out and had $20,000 worth of equity in the property. But what they wanted is to get away from it as soon as possible. They were done making an extra payment. They had 2 payments. They didn't think they could sell the property. They didn't know what the price of the property was worth. And there was $20,000 in equity on the table. Maybe if they were a little bit more educated, but to get that extra $20,000 equity, they would have to put in another $5,000 or $10,000, and they didn't have it. So don't assume. Number 6, don't assume you don't know what the other party wants. All right. Do not be reluctant to use scenarios, meaning what if this happens, this happens. If we can close by the end of the December, I can save you taxes. Will that help? Do not be reluctant to use scenarios. All right. So I do that a lot. Number 8, do not make snap decisions on points you have not anticipated. I always say, I will get back with you. Meaning you're negotiating and they're talking about, well, do you want the appliances? And, they're not working, and you say yes to save them some time, but then you realize it's going to cost you $100 to haul them off. So do not make snap decisions. Try to get back with them. I always say, let me get with my partner. I'll get back with you as soon as possible, but I want to get it done. And that's a technique that I use, a stale technique, stalemate. But at any rate, don't make snap decisions. Number 9, do not rely on an unwritten agreement. Man, oh, shucks. I'll tell you about that on the next one. Get the contract, regardless. I had a deal, and that leads me to number 10. Do not ask the other party to draft the agreement. You should have contracts ready to roll, hopefully in your vehicle in a folder behind your seat. Blank contracts, ready at any time to sign a contract. So I went over and found a triplex. I was stoked about it. And I got stung for a bunch of reasons. One, I didn't have a contract on me. Two, the guy said he was going to write the contract and get back with me. He was a relatively new realtor or rookie. I mean, he just got his license. He owned this property himself, and he just was moving, and he wanted to get rid of the property. Well, we settled on a price, fair price, $75,000. In my world, that was about $25,000 a unit. Made sense. As soon as he got back to the office, and his broker, I don't want to name any names, but his broker said that property was worth $85,000 and basically took that property from me, and he bought the property. I don't know, but after I digged and stampered and said, what in the world? We had an agreement, but I was a fool on number 9. I did not have a written agreement. So not an unwritten agreement. Make sure you get the contract. And number 10 is do not ask the other party to draft an agreement. You have the contract ready. You are in the control. You are the real estate investor. You are experienced. Hopefully just that, number 10, will juice you up and keep you going. All right, number 11, pretty simple. Don't make assumptions. Don't assume this is the deal for them or they can't afford it. That was my biggest learning curve growing up in sales, is I wouldn't make a sale because I was trying to help them and thought that they couldn't afford it. You really don't know what the underlying motive is for people to sell their property or what they're trying to do. Just don't assume. Number 12, don't rush through it. Negotiations takes time, and you got to be smooth about it. Don't just kind of, all right, contract's over with. And, it's hard for me because I'm a D personality. I want to get it done. I want to get it done now. Let's sign the deal. We'll close in 7 days. A lot of that. And we do close in 7 days and 12 days or whatever it takes. We're waiting on title. But don't rush through it. Take the time. Let them. I just did a deal. I said, hey, you guys think about it over the weekend. Do you want to bring cash to closing or do you want to walk away from the situation? And they called me back in a couple of days. I didn't call them. And they said, yeah, we're going to bring cash to closing and so on and so forth. And I said, okay, I'll get the title company ready to roll. And don't rush it. Number 12. Number 13, don't take anything personal. All right. Simple. It is business. But when you do negotiate, and in negotiations, it is emotional. I don't care who you are. As an alpha male, D personality, whatever you want to call it, I want to win. I want to win all the time. Everything. I want to win with my teeth. When I brush my teeth, I want to win. When I go to the dentist, I want to win. And I want them to say, you don't have any cavities. All right. Now, that's all great. But there's some times where a deal is not a deal. And as I get older, I realize that I can't take it personal. It's what the numbers are. I want that deal. I want another house for the portfolio. And so I can build, a legacy for my family and to give more to the church or whatever your goals are. But sometimes deals just don't happen. All right. Number 14, don't accept a bad deal because you've been in it for such a long time. All right. Remember, this is a game. Kind of, but it's life or death. Kind of. No, it's not. Okay. Sometimes you're going to have to learn to walk away. Yeah. There's deals I've lost because I walked away and it was a good deal, or I should have turned around and went back. That just happened to me. But you got to think of it as a game, I think, for me. And it's just, you win some, you lose some, but do not, number 14, do not accept a deal because you've waited this length or you've got so much energy in it. And that's where I struggle with. You got to, and I know it's long and sometimes it's stressful, but you got to man up or woman up. Whoever's listening to this, you got to deal with it and don't accept a bad deal. And number 15, the final one, don't over negotiate. Be sensitive in what you're doing. Like, realize that if I push any harder, they may walk away. And there's no rule of thumb. I mean, there may be. I'm not a negotiating expert, but I kind of banter back and forth a few times. And then I know if I keep negotiating, I may lose this deal. And I know the risks going in. And so I know that on the front end or whatever the case may be. Don't over negotiate. All right. Well, that's it for today on the Savvy Radio Show. I'm excited that you tuned in. And Spread the word. If you want to tell me about a negotiating deal that you've done, I would love to interview you, maybe even get you on the radio if you got time. You can text me 5454, the word ask, and let me know your thoughts on a deal. Other than that, check you out and have a great day. And whatever you do in all of your life, build a legacy and buy assets.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.